welcome. We are here today with another one of our speakers at WisdomCon, and Wisdom Conference is September 24th to the 26th. Please do check out the website and register for this incredible 3-day conference in which we are going to be doing lectures, lecture, workshop to help you integrate all of the wisdom that you're going to be receiving. Today, I have a very special guest with me, a very dear friend, Joanne Richards, who is going to be talking about some of her journey, and I'm going to read her bio in just a moment and introduce her. So Joanne Richards dramatically changed her life over the last 20 years. 6 marriages included abuse, divorce, and death. Her current husband is a former military intelligence officer incarcerated for a crime he didn't commit. An active member of the Mormon Church for nearly 30 years, she left it behind to embrace the world of UFOs, elementals, magic, and the paranormal, which speak deeply to her soul. Through her many struggles, she found her strength, gifts, and inner power, learning that dreams do come true. Joanne is a native Californian. She has an Associate of Arts degree in film production and accounting. She is the mother of a successful grown daughter and is a proud grandmother of 3. She is married to Captain Mark Richards, USN. She enjoys reading, needlework, travel, and spending time with the family. She is owned by her 3 cats. She is an international speaker on the topic of UFOs, extraterrestrials, and military involvement with such topics. Midlife Magic is her first book that she just published. It is incredible. I had the chance of reading this incredible story of her life transformation. And without further ado, Joanne, welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is quite an honor.
Thank
so
you
appreciate
so
you asking me.
Absolutely. What a gift. And I immediately thought about you because, boy, you have had such an incredible life, Joanne. It has to be spoken of, and we can all become inspired and learn about it. So tell us about the journey. First of all, that transformation from the Mormon Church into these topics, what got you into that?
It's funny. I know a lot of people have had bad experiences with the church, and maybe there was, I don't know, just different negative experiences with people in the church. And I didn't have, I never saw it as a cult or anything. I didn't think anything was going wrong with the church. I happened to marry 5 Mormon husbands, have 5 Mormon husbands who were horrible husbands. So, and then I met Mark, my current husband, who is a pagan. And we just started talking about spirituality and not religion. And all of a sudden, I found myself wanting to spend less time at church on Sunday and taking all my extra time with service that you do in the church, which service is great. I just no longer felt the need. I didn't need the church anymore. I didn't need the religion and the dogma and the rules and all that. And, he introduced me to some very interesting topics that I wanted to get more into. And it just kind of evolved from there. And I don't have any regret. I just never looked back. And there we are.
That's amazing. And but it's interesting to have that jump into ufology. So what brought you, so he was pagan, what brought you into the ufology aspect of it?
Well, when we first met, he was not telling me that that's what his military career was based on, as from our, getting together at different UFO conferences. But eventually he was giving me more reports and talking about the UFO stuff. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then the more it took us a few years into our relationship before I knew that that's what he used to do. Because I had no UFO experience except watching Martian movies as a kid in the 50s. And over time, he's been giving me more and more reports that I publish through my nonprofit, Earth Defense Headquarters, and about his experiences in the military, his dad's, different alien species, different conferences. So that's all really well and good. But again, through the years, I've had my own UFO experiences. I've seen sightings. And just a couple of years ago, I saw one up close and personal when I was visiting Mark, one weekend. And, there it was flying over our apartment where we were, visiting for 2 days. And it's like, so I've had my own experiences, and I'm very interested in the various species and what they're like and how they want to interact with us and just what their own lives are like and their social structure and their spiritual path. So it's, I have my own experiences, so it's not just repeating, what my husband's done or what he knows. So it's very cool that I can say I've got my own stuff around this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you talk in your book about the transformation, and I think that's really one of the most incredible, the journey that you took. So talk to us about that journey. What did you encounter as you were coming in to an awareness of all of these things?
Well, it's interesting. And one of the things I will touch on, and I touch on in the book, but one of the things I'll touch on in my talk is like, yes, I've been married, 6 times before the current husband, and most of them ended in divorce. One committed suicide. There's been abuse, there's been divorce, there's been death. And so there was a lot of not fun in all of that. But when I went through the process of writing the book, I took the time to say, okay, but what did you learn from each of those experiences? Okay, yes, I had to look at why did I keep getting married? And not just like live with people, but it's like, why do I keep getting married? And then what did I learn from those mostly negative experiences? And so that has helped my process a lot. And also then this, the spiritual path and learning about the extraterrestrials and learning about elementals and learning about witchcraft and magic and how I can embrace that in my life and how that will help my life. That's helped the transformation. And one big lesson I've learned that I will just keep emphasizing is it needed to be more about taking care of myself and finding out what was important to me and not just, going along with the man's plan for our life. I love my current husband, but I do have my own thoughts and feelings about things, and I am on my own path. It might coincide with his, but it doesn't always have to. And, I'm finding out what's important to me and how to take better care of myself and to bring, use my intuition and bring that in and help others if it helps them, and at least help me so I can be a better me and then share that with people. And one of the things I was going to, part of what's helped me is I work with a channeling medium who channels a deceased woman, and mostly, she's the main deceased person, but it also gives us the opportunity, through that platform to, I've talked to my mom, I've talked to Mark's dad, I've talked to several deceased people, and I've learned who some of my spirit guides are. And, when we've been in group sessions, we've talked to Jesus, we've talked to Mary Magdalene, we've talked to his mother. It's like, we've talked to many deceased humans and also several alien species, which has been cool. And it's all about awareness and raising consciousness. And that's really helped me awaken myself and really find out what I need to be doing and what messages what path I want to be on and who I want to be touching, if they need my message or not. And that's helped me a lot. So, it's like I was talking to the medium today, I was talking to them today, and it's like, I have so many friends on the other side now. It's like I even talked to one of Mark's deceased partners. She was a very she grew up as just a part of the witch community and very powerful witch, and we've become like best friends. So, I get a lot of guidance from the other side. And when I speak in a couple of weeks, it's like, I asked them this word. It's like, well, do you have any messages you want people to hear? Oh, thank you for asking. So it's a combination of what I've been inspired to say and some of the things that the other side, my dear friends on the other side, would like, everybody to hear. So
That's amazing, Joanne.
Yeah.
Now, there's a key thing that I heard you say, and you talk about, the moment when you realize that, not everything is under the man. Like we need to have our own identity. And
Right.
so, what was that moment for you that you realized that, it was time to move away from that thinking? And how was that process for you?
I would say writing the book, and I started the book. I started the book off, in bits and pieces several years back when a friend of mine at in the UFO community said, "Well, when are you going to write your story?" Basically, it's like, what? And no, yes, your husband's stuff is great, but when are you going to write your story? You have your own cool story. And it's like, oh, and so I would make notes over the years, and then before COVID happened, I was starting to kind of work on that very slowly. And then I was working with a book writing group. And I figured, oh, well, I guess now's the time. And it was through the process of the book that gave me the strength to really recognize that, I am an important person and I have value no matter who I'm married to, no matter who my kid is, no matter what my grandchildren think of me. I have value and I have a purpose here on earth. And sorry, this is making me cry, but I think COVID has helped. It's given me the time to work on myself and work on the book. And that's helped me process a lot. And it's helped me have a lot of healing with my daughter. And, now we want to write a book together. And so a lot of good things have happened. And I'm sorry, I haven't been able to see my husband hardly at all over the last couple, however long COVID's been going on. But and people have seen the change in me. So, and most everybody thinks it's a good change. So, I think it's again, been this last year or 2 years where I've really stepped into my own power and realized that I have value regardless of who's around me.
It's such a powerful, powerful message, Joanne. And really thank you for coming into that vulnerable space to be able to share that with us. Because, even though we think we're in the year 2021, I mean, so many of us are still with this mentality, that we are under a man or having to, be smaller or not talk about our lives and find that value and express that. So I think it's such a timely moment to have these conversations where the divine feminine is really rising, not just in the form of the
you're
woman.
Right.
Exactly.
And the other side agrees with you.
Oh, there we go. It very much is. And it's so important because your book is kind of instrumental in understanding that path, that journey. So I really want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
And so let's talk a little bit about what your presentation is going to be about. Your presentation says embracing the crone. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the more I study witchcraft, and there's some lovely, it's all about, and I was interviewed the other day and they said, well, tell us about the magic. And I go, magic is just adhering to natural laws. And it's just, and I forgot to tell, it's like I would have said, it's like, it's honoring the Mother Earth. And but it's all about using nature and the natural energies just to, not necessarily to get what you want, but, to help improve your life or to help you in your life or, to get what you want. But, so I took a wonderful class, and about the maiden mother crone. So there's different, there's age-wise, there's different stages you go through, and just energetically, there's different stages you can be in. And it's like sometimes, yes, I feel childish and playful. That wasn't always my normal nature, but it's like, I love thinking of myself now as a wise woman where somebody might come to me for advice or, it's like, again, my daughter and I have had so much healing from the process of me writing this book. And, it's just, I get so much validation and she's so proud of me. And it's like, wow, I didn't think, it's like, if that's all that's accomplished from this is super, because I put her life through hell with all the different stepfathers she had to endure. And, this is one way I'm giving back by, and being here in Portland near her now during COVID is another way I'm giving back, because we can spend a lot of time together and talk over stuff. But I probably just lost my train of thought.
No,
Sorry.
that's wonderful. So you were talking about the different stages of, I guess,
Oh, yes.
is it
Yeah,
the maturing crone in us,
right.
right? And
And
so,
yeah, I remember several years ago when I was in England, in Cornwall, in a little village, there is a witch museum, a witchcraft museum, and it's the history and stuff. But then you go through the hallway and you come upon like a recreated like old woman in the forest hut, and she's got her herbs drying and she's sitting there with her tarot cards and all that. And I go, I want to be, my daughter's the herb expert, but I love herbs. But it's like, I want to be that wise woman. And maybe I'm not going to have a hut in the forest, but I just want to be someone that it's like I've always saw myself as a teacher, but I thought it was going to be in a classroom situation. And then, as you've known, I've been in the UFO community speaking for several years now. So that's a way of teaching. And now it's like, I want to, and I've been told in another reading, it's like, you're supposed to go teach the Pleiadians. I go, there? Yeah, there. I go, well, so I've got some traveling to do. And even if it starts out with small groups here on the planet Earth, I'm happy to share my message. And if one person can, get something from it, that is great. And, it's like a couple years ago before COVID, I was speaking at a conference about alien species. And, so I get pretty emotional, but because I want there to be contact with friendly ones. But it's like somebody in the audience was, just was so appreciative of the information I had, and just was like, oh, that was really touching. And it's like, if I can share whatever people need to hear, I know a few things. So if, whatever people need to hear, I'm glad to share that. And again, even with my marriages, it's like, I wouldn't wish abuse on anybody or going through a steady cycle of, not getting along with somebody and thinking you have to get another divorce. But, my pattern was basically, again, I grew up in the 50s. So you're thinking white picket fence, woman stays home, has a bunch of kids, the man brings home the money, and that's how it is. And then as a Mormon, it's like, okay, the man's the head of the house and I'm the little woman who's supposed to stay home and have a bunch of kids. Well, I had one, and all the Mormons I married were horrible. So it's like, so I learned things, and they weren't about letting me be my best self, and they were the head of the household, no matter how awful they were. So,
yeah. That's so interesting. And one of the things that there is a stigma still, around witchcraft and the idea that it is a dark art. And can you tell us a little bit about that? What do we need to know? Why do we need witchcraft now? What is that? And is it in the dark, or, is there light?
There is a lot of light. And yes, some people practice the dark. And I know people who have done both. And sometimes, and I was walking yesterday, and okay, we had a new moon, almost a week ago. And I set my intention to create the best talk that I need to give for your conference. And so I figured, okay, I trust that inspiration will come. Well, it started coming as I was on my long walk last night. And I was thinking, sometimes, especially, if you're in danger, you might have to use a little dark art to protect yourself. I haven't had to, I've been able to put up some protection, and because I haven't been threatened with bodily harm, but I know someone who has. And so, yes, she had to use some dark magic, but it saved her life.
Wow.
And I'm glad for that. I don't practice anything dark. And for me, it's as simple as, okay, setting an intention and letting the universe and the energy, if that's in your best interest, hopefully that will come to pass. Some of us with all the fires and stuff will do, group spells, somebody will post and everybody, if you can, do a water spell for the fires. So I'll do a water spell, and it's as simple as, just a little saying, but just hopefully bringing in the energy of, okay, let's have some rain, or at least calm down the winds. And, it's again, it's just working with nature to, to bring about good things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to me, that's it. It is witchcraft is nothing more than science, because being a witch is nothing more than being a wise woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love
So
that. It really is
yeah,
that. And it's the extension. I mean, the environment, the earth is an extension of
right,
our own body. So if
right,
we master the body, we master our environment. And
right.
I mean, there are many rainmakers, shamans, the same
Yes,
thing. It's the same thing with a different name, but it's that closeness and connection to the earth that allows us to tap into these amazing gifts that are available to us. And I think that's the
right.
value. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Joanne. What a gift. I cannot wait for your presentation
Thank you,
and
honey.
your book. Where can we find your book? Where
Well,
can we
I'm going to
work with
show
you?
it to you.
Yeah.
Here's the cover. Da, 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 da. So it's in a couple of places. I have a website, dragonhillbooks.net, so they can order it directly through me if they want a signed copy, or it's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, Kindle. Through Amazon, it's on various ebook platforms. If you live in Portland, it's at the new Renaissance bookstore in the UFO section. So,
Nice.
I have it in, officially physically in one bookstore, but any bookstore can order it and get
Hmm.
it. So it's
Uh-huh.
available lots of different ways. So thanks for asking. And I think I'm going
Absolutely.
to have a booth at your conference so that
Yes.
I can sit and sell
Yes,
virtually.
absolutely. So
Great.
definitely buy books with she will have them available for us at her booth. And do you also offer any other services of any kind, Joanne?
Not yet, but
Okay.
I would love speaking opportunities if people, have a group. Doesn't matter if they want to hear about aliens or fairies or even, you know, some kind of support around having crappy husbands. I don't crappy
Boy.
Mormon husbands or
Yes,
just
and we need
abusive
that.
husbands because there's abuse,
Yeah,
the abuse was not always physical. A lot of times it's emotional and it was financial. So
very much
I've
so.
run the gamut. Yeah.
Yes,
And
amazing. Wow. Well, we definitely, women out there and men that are dealing with any kinds of abuse in their relationships
exactly.
or, wanting to learn more about these arts in enhancing your life and self, reach out to Joanne. I will put all of the links below for you to
Great.
check into that. And if you have questions, write them down below so that we can have them for the conference as
Oh,
well.
good.
And yeah, thank you so much,
Oh,
Joanne.
thank
And
you, Geraldine.
thank you. And for our guests, please register down below at WisdomCon. If you found some value in this interview, please do share it, like, and subscribe to our channel, and share the love, please, so that we can have more brothers and sisters join in understanding and learning this wisdom. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.